My name is Cynthia Vlasich, and I'm the Director of Education and Leadership at Sigma Theta Tau International. It is my pleasure and honor to interview today for us past president of the International Honor Society of Nursing, Sigma Theta Tau, Dr. Karen Morin. Dr. Morin.
Oh, please. Karen isn't much better.
Karen. During your 2009-2011 presidency, your theme was to focus the society on, quote, connecting through knowledge for global health, end of quote. How would you describe your theme?
It's a really hard thing to arrive at a theme. And so I really thought long and hard about how I could capture in the theme the forward movement of the organization. We had been talking when I was president-elect about a global vision, Vision 2020, and we had also talked about the fact that in prior biennia, the president's call sometimes didn't connect with our strategic plan or the vision for the organization. And so I tried to craft my call so that it reflected and built on Vision 2020. So I thought, well, and I also wanted to give credit to our long history of science and development. And so I thought if I can say that we're recognizing that we're becoming more global, if one of the sub-themes could be creating welcoming environments, that would alert our members to the responsibilities that we all have actually, to welcome new people into our organization, irrespective of where they are from and where they might be in their own leadership journey. I had heard stories of young members arriving at a chapter and maybe not being as welcomed. So if we were to make operational Vision 2020 and being global, creating a welcoming environment would be really important.
Yes.
As would recognizing and building on our great history of knowledge and knowledge development. So I thought, if I can craft this and do that, I'd be doing really well. Then obviously we have to think, okay, well, how are we going to do this in terms of global health? So let's begin to think about that in a broader perspective. And then I was blessed with having had a conversation with past President Dan Pescitt as I thought about crafting my call. And I said, I have no clue. Dan, what am I going to do? I don't have a clue. And Dan says, well, Karen, think about what you've been talking about during your president-elect time. And I spent a lot of time in my president-elect life talking about leadership. And so I thought it would be important to blend that into the call and focus on that from an individual perspective. I also had a colleague once tell me that personal leadership was a strength, and I think you should lead from strength. So building that all together sort of summarizes, I think, what my call was all about. Does that answer your question?
It does. It gives a wonderful background for how we came to that great theme. How would you characterize Sigma Theta Tau International as an organization during your presidential term?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I really had to think about that. I think it was one of always vibrancy. And I think one of experiencing some growing pains as we contemplated how we were going to make operational or achieve Vision 2020. So I think there was some tension between gaining clarity about what's essential and key to our organization, what needs to change, what must always stay. But I think that there was always a sense of excitement as we contemplated how it would look in the future. So I would not want to say that there wasn't tension. I think the organization was so excited and embraced Vision 2020 so enthusiastically that we sort of had to say, whoa, well, what do we have to do? So there was excitement, there was vibrancy, there was prioritization, being called on to say, how do we do this? But I think members were incredibly invigorated during my biennium. As I interacted with members, I I often think, well, that's my perception, so yeah, right. But I think, absolutely, yeah.
How did you envision this focus, your theme, advancing STTI's vision, mission, and strategic directions?
I was very cognizant of the charge that our members said in terms of contributing to the health of the world's people. That's part of our broad scope. I think I am, by nature, a developer. And so if you think about our mission and our vision as one as placing nurses and providing information for nurses and helping develop and make a contribution in the broader global scheme, then I think that my call, the work that the organization did during my biennium, was very closely aligned with the vision, mission, and strategic plan of the organization. Very closely aligned.
Tell us about the most significant outcome of your biennium as president.
Yeah, well, I gave that much thought to, because there were many, actually. And to say most is really hard. If this was a multiple choice, one answer only question, I might fail on this one. I think that there were several. I think the fact that, though I know we are having growing pains, the fact that we have additional regional coordinators is a significant move. The fact that we achieved associate status for NGO, significant move. The fact that we were able to, courtesy of Pat's great work as well, become affiliated with the ICN, significant. The fact that we consider languages and have begun to create welcoming environments in a broader sphere in different languages was a significant accomplishment. So those are just some of them. If I looked at my notes, I'd probably remember a few more. But those are really key, I think, in addressing each of those areas. The circle, we launched many other things, but yeah.
And what were the most significant learnings?
There's learnings at the organizational level, and there's learnings at the personal level. The learnings that I learned at the organizational level really had to do with the incredible workings of a board in dealing with difficult situations, the incredible commitment that a board can bring to an organization, learning how to work effectively and help move an organization forward. So that's at the organizational level. I guess from my perspective, sitting back now, learning to use different leadership approaches at a personal level was incredibly informing for me at the board level. I'm a fairly inclusive individual, but recognizing that there were times that inclusion and consensus are all really wonderful, but that sometimes you have to be a little bit more directed, was a really enlightening thing to me as a leader, and has helped me in my current position, or even as I look forward now, to be able to capture that at a different level. Billy Brown said this is really good training to be a dean, to assume an additional, more complicated leadership role. And I think that certainly at the board level, that's something, as a president, I think that's something you really gain experience in. Truly.
What was your most memorable experience as president?
I thought about that as well. Last night I was writing down these notes. I thought, what's the most memorable? People ask me, gee, was there a favorite place I went to? The most memorable experience is I think it's the meeting members around the world, the incredible enthusiasm, and their willingness, their commitment to the organization. There were many things that happened, but for me, as I looked at it, I thought if I were to capture it in one way, it was interaction with members, because they are the organization, and they're questioning, they're volunteering, they're pushing my thinking as a leader was phenomenal. So that's really, I mean, I could say this place, and this place, but that doesn't really capture it.
What did you do before you became president?
In terms of the history of this organization, or I guess I volunteered for everything. I've had most presidents, I think, come to this position having had phenomenal experience in this organization. I used to call myself an organizational maven because I was on the board of another national organization. I was president of a state association. I was president of my several chapters. I was highly involved in Sigma on many levels. Had wonderful opportunities presented to me, and had the wisdom to take advantage of them. So before Sigma, I mean, I think I was well prepared for this position. Though if you had asked me when I was president-elect, I would have said, oh, I'm not prepared for this. I think the time as a president-elect gives you some time to get acclimated to the president's position. I think 4 years on the board gave me ample opportunity to appreciate what goes on in this organization. And I had incredible opportunities as a board member to gain even a broader perspective. You know, I was the organization's representative at the stakeholder meeting at WHO in Geneva.
Yes.
And that was an incredible opportunity. And then I got to go to Bangkok because there was other stuff. And that really, those opportunities, I could have said no to. They were offered to me, and I said, sure, of course. And what invaluable opportunities they were to help inform me as a potential president. Because I really didn't think, as I ended my 4-year term on the board, that I was going to run for president. So it took lots of thought.
And tell us what you're doing now, both in regards to Sigma as well as in your
Other life?
Other life. Right.
That other life that all went on.
Yes.
People have asked me, oh, are you depressed? You know, because, oh, you're not president of Sigma anymore. Are you depressed? I say I don't have time to be depressed. Certainly, in my regular life, I've been able to step in and do other things. And I had my responsibilities lessened while I was president. So I have now assumed the other 50%. So that has taken up a bit of my time. And for once, in this particular position in which I happen to be at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, I am in my 7th year. This is the first time in my employment there when I've not been on the board of Sigma, been president-elect or president, because that's an 8-year term.
Oh, yes.
So all of a sudden I have ample opportunity to finally devote to my job, which is very good. When I went to Wisconsin, I had committed to a book writing project, so I'm spending the book from you know where. I am trying to get that done with my colleagues so we can get it gone. So that's trying to recraft what it is I'm doing. So I will adjust my working responsibilities and begin to work with a hospital where my home and my husband are, so I might get to see him a little bit more frequently. Wouldn't that be a novel idea?
That'd be wonderful.
Oh my God, yes, you are married. So that's good. In Sigma, for this biennium, obviously still very actively involved with the MCH, Maternal Child Health Nurse Leader Academy, and have had the privilege and the opportunity to continue to be involved with the South Africa part, and that will continue. I was having a conversation with Joanne. She said, Karen, we just don't know, you know, you're so busy. How are we going to keep you involved? I said, oh, no. This is, hey, No, 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 no. I might step out of the North American one, but I'm going to stay with that. Good, 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 good. So,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right. How did being president influence your career?
Well, it's a really good question. I have had, and I'm at a point of really thinking, what do I do now?
Mm-hmm.
I had a colleague in another organization call me probably in January to say, Karen, you qualify to run for president-elect or board member of this association. And I started to laugh and I said, are you kidding me? I'm not going to do that. No, thank you very much for the honor, but no, been there, done that. So I have had some professional opportunities presented to me. I have not taken advantage of them because I really want to be very deliberate in what my next contribution will be.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say at the present time, I'm always, as somebody gently reminded me, you will always be past president of Sigma. And I am only now really gaining an appreciation of what that really means.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that if I were about 10 years younger, I would take advantage of more of these opportunities. But I think there are many opportunities out there for me, and I'm taking my time on crafting what that is. Yeah. Yeah. I've got probably 5 more years with my current employer because I have so many doctoral students I need to get done.
Mm-hmm.
And I would not want to change positions and leave them without a major professor because that's just too disquieting.
Right.
So, but I'm going to craft it differently so I can be home more.
In 10 years,
Yeah.
as people look back on your presidency, what will they see as your legacy to the society?
Moving it into into globalization for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly with the help of many people. But through in my biennium, they would say, well, that's when we made the first big step.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about it several biennia.
Yes.
But we actually began to do it. You know, the South Africa office, the MCH pilot, all of those things that had been certainly in consideration and deliberation prior to, but really came to fruition. So I think they'll remember that. I think they'll remember it also as an incredibly approachable biennium, in that there was much investment and excitement that went on, a lot of energy. But I think probably one of my nicest compliments from a member was at the biennium, who said, you know, I'm an old member, I've been coming a long time. You're one of the most visible ones. So I think that's important as well as we think about leadership and we think about the mark. I mean, there are many things. Yes, we moved us into the global arena. Yes, we got NGO status. But yes, in this biennium, we also made it incredibly approachable. The expectations on the part of the board was that they circulate, that they be part of, interact with members. So that message was very clear at all levels. And for me, on a personal level, I think that's very important. So.
What's your vision now for the future of Sigma Theta Tau International?
Really exciting things. Sigma has always had a history of being avant-garde, cutting edge. So I anticipate that will continue. I anticipate our global influence will increase exponentially. That's going to be a challenge for us, a fabulous opportunity. I think we're taking advantage of it now. I think we'll have a little growing pains, but I would love us to, my vision of the future, and I think it'll be sooner than we think, is that we're an incredibly well-respected global organization that really walks the walk in terms of making a difference for the health of the world's people, and that we'll have people coming to us to be able to work in collaboration in greater detail than we have now.
And what would you recommend for future leaders of the society to pursue?
In terms of direction?
However you'd like to define that.
Well, I didn't read that question. That's a very good question. So let's think about that a minute. I think that as they begin to undertake broader, more maybe system-wide activities, their challenge and what they must always continue to pursue is how to maintain the active involvement of the member.
Mm-hmm.
And that becomes challenging because you look at one level and you think of the member at the other level. So I think, for me, what I would love to see, real concretely, would be we've done, and I'd hope to have this happen in my biennium. You know, we have the International Leadership Institute.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we should be pursuing the creation, and I know what that means in terms of resources and allocation, an International Service Institute, an International Scholarship Institute,
mm-hmm.
and that would concretize is not the right word, would solidify, I'll say, our foci,
mm-hmm.
and make it clear to our members where their areas of development are, as well as obviously the innovative things that will help make all that we have available to members accessible to members.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see us be able to get more funding to be able to underwrite research, which is so key to everything that we do. But I think from a leadership perspective, I was just having a conversation with a member who said, I have 5 people from Mozambique visiting us in my institution, and I'm telling them about clinical practice, education practice partnerships. This was a faculty member from the University of Pennsylvania. She said, but they need leadership. Mm-hmm. So it's taking into ratcheting up mm-hmm. our leadership preparation as well, mm-hmm. because I think we would make a significant impact if we continued to focus more on that. And I'll end it at that.
Are there any other comments you'd like to make as we bring this interview to a close?
No, I guess I think in reflection I would say to anybody, people say, oh, how do you get there? How do you do it? Somebody once said, in one panel I was on, what's your biggest hurdle? What's your biggest hurdle? I said, no doubt self-doubt is your biggest hurdle. Mm-hmm. So I think from a leadership perspective, mm-hmm. individuals need to take advantage of opportunities, find mentors. I haven't mm-hmm. mentioned mentors. Or coaches, somebody that can help you continue to develop. Mm-hmm. I think being open mm-hmm. To opportunities and to development just positions people really well to be able to take advantage of these opportunities and to be risk-taking enough of a risk-taker to put their foot forward. Recognizing, certainly in my leadership journey, there were a lot of, I don't call them barriers. I think there were a lot of hurdles, mm-hmm. Impediments, obstructions along the way, but I would never call them barriers where you stop. Because there really is that incredible opportunity. And this particular organization takes so seriously the development of the leaders. I don't think anybody realizes that when you're on the board in Sigma, they develop you. They help develop you. We have leadership, we have board development. I mean, those kinds of activities aren't always undertaken on other boards. Mm-hmm. So the organizational heritage is to help develop people at all levels. Mm-hmm. So it's always been a fabulous opportunity.
Well, as we bring this interview to a close, I'd like to express our heartfelt thanks for your extraordinary leadership. As President, Sigma Theta Tau International, the Honor Society of Nursing, Dr. Karen Morin, 2009-2011. Thank you.